Okay, next we're going to try to learn something from these files. So the first thing we need to do is create a tab on which to do some comparisons. So I'm going to do that, click right here and create sheet 4, and I'm going to first come over to 2010 and probably just highlight that data, or no, I'll highlight the TAZ ID, hit Control C to copy, go to sheet 4, Control V to paste, and then I've got all the TAZs there. Now the next thing I want to do is get up here and go equal sign and then go over to 2010, and I'm going to do hit the total pop column, total HH. No, let's do total pop. Yeah, I think we'll do like that. Then I come here in this little square, I double click that and it highlights down, and what it's done is pasted the reference in there. The, highlighting references is better than pasting just raw data because it helps you trace what's going on in the spreadsheet more easily. But I do need to change the title here to not total pop, but I'm going to call it pop 10 to distinguish it from the next one. So I'm going to now go to equals 2040, total pop there, and click that down, and now I'll go to 2040 plus, and I'll hit total pop there and drop that down. You know what? I changed my mind. We want to do households because households is kind of like housing units, and that'll help us understand more easily condominiums and dwelling units that are built. So I'm going to change that. So let's go to equals again and go to total households. And I'll show you another trick that you can do. No, I won't show you another trick you can do. I'll just do this. 2040 households and 2040 plus households. Then I'm going to highlight all of them, click them down, rename this HH10, HH40, HH40P for plus. Okay, so now let's see if we can do a trick. So if I highlight these and I come over here and hit paste, this is put new data in here, but I'm not exactly sure what data it is, so I can look at the reference. It says 2010. Whoops. Okay, small glitch, I'm back. So it says 2010 G2, so I come over here to 2010 EFG, so G is hidden. It somehow went over to retail, but I don't want G, I want F, because that's the column where the total employment is. So I'm going back to my sheet. This is G, all of them say G2, and they all have an exclamation point in front of them. That means I can do this. So if I highlight this and I hit Control H, that brings up a find and replace dialog. Find what? I'm going to want to find exclamation point G, and I'm going to replace with exclamation point F. So do that, replace all. It says it made 12,000 replacements, or 1,200 replacements. Close, and now I should be looking at the employment data for all of the fields. I should confirm that though by going here and looking at the employment 0, 1.9, 5.9, and that's right, so it looks like it's right. Now I'm going to highlight these three, hit Control H again. That brings up replace. I'm going to replace the HH part with EMP and replace all, close, and there you go. So now I've got employment set up. Now I'm going to color these just so that they can stay organized a little bit. I'll make this one pink and I'll make this one kind of orange so that I can see that the households are different than the employment. Now the next thing I want to do is see how the employment changes over time. So I'm going to go, or the households change over time. So I'm going to go with this minus this, and that's what I get. Now if I run that down, it's like that. So I'm going to call this H40, or no, I'll call it diff for H40 H10. That's what the difference is, H40 H10. I also get bothered by the decimals on this, so I'm going to maybe not in the difference, but on the main one I'm going to reduce decimals. So sometimes it doesn't work so well. So you can highlight and arrow down highlights everything as long as you hit the shift key, and then I'm going to do that. And I think I'll do the same same thing with the employment. Shift and arrow down, and goes like that, and it gets rid of the decimal. Okay, so now I have the difference between 2040 and 2010. If I drag this to the right, I get a new calculation, D2 minus C2. If I click in it, I can see that it's D2 minus C2, and I'm getting 2040 plus minus 2040, and that seems like a good one to me. Let me explain what plus is. Plus is a file I created for this Logan study where I intentionally tried to make 2040 bigger than the MPO had forecasted it to be. I meant it as a build-out test where I used a GIS analysis to grow zones to their full build-out capacity right next to Logan, within Logan and next to Logan. And I also tried to boost the Main Street zones so they'd have a little more population and employment in them, representative of the downtown specific plan that they created. So if I click this arrow down, then I can see that for a lot of zones 2040 plus is not different than 2040, and that's good because I wouldn't want it to be different in some places. And in other places I wanted it to grow, and it does grow. So that's one, and we're going to call that now diff 40p H40, like that. Okay, and okay, I want to do the same thing with employment, so I'm going to Control C, copy those, and I'll paste them right there. Unfortunately, it does not, the formulas when they copy over didn't copy in the correct order to do that on their own. So I could moan and groan and try to fix it the hard way, or I could fix it the easy way. The easy way to fix it is to take these and Control X, cuts them out of the place they are. Then you come to E, right click here, insert cut cells. That places them so that they are in the correct position to calculate HH. Now when I copy them over here to this one, they're in the same relative position with employment that they were in households. Therefore, I get the equation right. And if I check them both, I can see they're both right. And the only problem now is that my titles are wrong. So I'm going to change the H's into E's, and I'm going to do a wide search and replace. Just going to study that to make sure that I can replace H's without making any more mistakes. So Control H brings up the search and replace dialog. I'm going to replace H with E and replace all. It says it made 4 replacements. It's replacing only the cells that I had highlighted. That's good. and now I've set up employment. So in this, I hope you'll pause this video and practice all of these things, because this is really good stuff for being able to manage Excel quickly and easily. And Excel is among the most important tools you'll ever use in your whole life. Alright, now we're going to set up percent change. So I'm going to insert two columns between G and H. So right click, insert. It gives you two columns. Now the way you do a percent change with this is we've already computed the difference. So percent is equal to the difference divided by what I started with. And then I get that number 25, but that's not a percent. I need to change it into percent. Whoa, 2,500% larger. Now let's ask a question if that seems reasonable or not. So if we go over here, I see that I started with 7 households and I ended up with 173 households. So that's apparently 25 times higher than it started out. So 2,500% is correct. That's a correct size of change. So I'm going to now go here, drag that over, look at what I've computed. I've got the growth in 2040 plus over 2040, which is 0, because for that case I didn't change anything. We're getting a divide by 0 error right here. Divide by 0 errors are easy to fix. Let me show you how to do that. You just say if the division, or if B2, Control C, put that there, is going to be equal to 0, then comma, then I want to enter 0 into the cell. Otherwise I want to do the calculation. So then hit like that, and I get the same thing as before, but now when I click down, you can see that it's entered 0 in for those spots. So now I'm going to click that over, and I have my new if statement there. Double click that down, and very good. Okay, another common issue when you're analyzing data is that often data will do things that you didn't expect it to do. And using conditional formatting is a great way to be able to see that. So one of the things that I would expect in moving from 2010 to 2040 is that most of the time the number of households should go up and not down. If it goes down, then this percent change will result in a negative number, and this difference will result in a negative number. I can see one right there. So what I'm going to do first is highlight column E and F, and then I'm going to go to this conditional formatting, which is on the Home tab, and I'm going to add a rule. Highlight cells rule. I want to highlight anything that is less than 0. Well, that even got zeros, so it must be slightly less than 0. I don't want to do that, so I guess I want to highlight things that are less than -1. And I'll do like that. So -1 itself is not less than -1. It's so maybe I want to change that. I go back to here, highlight cell rules. I already made a rule, so I'm going to manage my rules here, and I'm going to say I have this less than -1 edit rule. I don't need it to be less than, I need it to be less than or equal to -1. So I'm going to highlight that, apply, and it didn't work. I don't really know. Alright, let's see if we can figure out why. It might be that it's not actually -1. If I raise the decimal places here, I'm going to have to do that by Shift and down and raise the decimals. Then I can see that it was not -1 at all, it was -0.5. So that was an issue. So maybe what I want to do is just stick with -0.1 and say If I have anything that's that far off, then I want to know about it. So if I hit -1 here, now it turns red, so I know that my function works. I can hit Control Z to undo that. Control Z works in every Windows-based program to undo things. It's a really fast way, much faster than regular undo. And now I just scan down the column looking for red cells that would highlight anything that I should be aware of. I don't see anything, so I'm in pretty good shape. Now I'm just going to title the columns here. So I'm going to copy these two columns, or these two titles, put them here. I'll do Control H again. This time I'm going to replace the diff part with the PCT, percent, meaning percent change. Replace all, and it worked. Close. Now I'm going to copy those two names, or not the two names, I'm going to copy the entire field. So columns, take these over here, put those right there, and I'm going to now confirm that I have the right data. I do have the right data because the structure was the same. Now I'm going to replace the H's, Control H, and H replaced with E, replace all, and there you go. Pretty good. And these are not pink, so I'm going to go to Format Painter. If I double click, it puts it into paint mode, where the format of anything will then go to that, and it turns those household sizes pink. And I think I'll call this TAZ summary, and that's it. We'll move on to the next one next.